No warm up, no easing into it. We're talking about the moment God puts a mirror in front of your face and you can't look away. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Spoken Truth Revival. Daniel here, and today we're going straight into this message because we have all faced those moments in life that hits us like a ton of bricks. The moment when life stops playing with you. You know, that moment when the excuses all fall off. The moment when God says, sit down and look at yourself. This is the man you've been, and this is the man that you're supposed to be. So nobody likes this part. We want breakthrough without honesty. We want growth without exposure. We want purpose without the process. But God doesn't change what you're not willing to confront. So he lets that pain hit. He lets the storm shake everything around you until the lies you've been telling yourself have nowhere left to hide. That's when it gets real. That's when everything in you starts screaming, I don't want to face this no more. But God says, you need to, because this version of you can't walk into what I'm calling you to do. This is the breaking, not the breaking that destroys you, the breaking that exposes you, the breaking that forces you to meet the man behind the mask. And I'm not telling you this from any type of stage. I'm telling you this from my own breaking. I had to face myself too. The anger, the hurt, the lies that I built to survive. And God dragged me into that confrontation because I kept running from the real me. I had to face demons that I created myself. And God showed me the parts of me that I tried to outrun. And I learned real quick, you don't grow until God breaks who you're pretending to be. There comes a moment in every man's life where God stops negotiating with you. No more warnings, no more signs you ignore, no more I'm gonna do this next time, I'll change, no more hiding behind your pain, your past, or your pride. God steps right into the middle of your chaos and says, enough with this. We're going to deal with this right now. And it's wild because, you know, the first thing that he confronts isn't your enemies. It's not the people who hurt you. It's not the situations that you blame. It's you. The version of you you've been protecting, the version that you've been justifying, the version that's been running your life into the ground. And God puts the mirror right in front of your face and says, you know what? Look. This is the man that you've become. Now I need you to tell me something. Is this the man that you're willing to stay? That's the confrontation. It's not loud. It's deep. It's not violent. It's personal. He confronts the patterns that keep repeating. He confronts the wounds that you keep burying. He confronts the habits that you act like you can't control. And he confronts the anger that you can't admit. He confronts the fear that you disguise as some type of strength. He exposes every place where you've been pretending, and not to shame you, man, it's to wake you up. Because the truth is, you can't walk into your purpose while dragging around a version of yourself that was never meant to survive. This is why God lets things fall apart. It ain't to hurt you, but to pull you out of the things hurting you. And when that confrontation hits, you feel it. You feel that shift in your chest, that pressure in your spirit, and the quiet voice saying, this stops now. That's God breaking the version of you that's been breaking you. So the real you, the healed you, the called you can finally rise. Once God has your attention, once he strips the noise, once he breaks through the pride, the ego, the fear, then comes the reveal. And let me tell you something, the reveal is not gentle. It's not, you know, a soft thing. It doesn't just show up like a warm hug from heaven. It hits you like truth you can't unhear, truth you can't outrun, truth that exposes everything you've been avoiding, because God doesn't just show you damage. He shows you the roots. He shows you why you react the way you do, why you settle the way you do, why you carry pain that you never speak of, and why you sabotage blessings that you prayed for, and why you still fight battles that ended like so many years ago. And for the first time, you finally see the man behind all the survival instincts. You finally see the little boy still trying to be strong. You finally see the decisions that shaped you and the lies that kept you trapped. This is the moment where you realize I wasn't running from life. I was running from myself. And God brings you right to that truth not to break your spirit, but to break the false identity you built from the trauma that you went through. Because how can you become the man God created while living as the man life forced you to be? This is the reveal. The moment God uncovers the truth that you were never taught to face. God can't elevate the version of you that refuses to be honest. That's why this part hurts. That's why it feels personal. You know what? Because it is. He's showing you who you've been so he can show you who you are. The moment God reveals who you've been, something inside you starts to shift. It's not loud. It's not emotional. It's deeper than that. It's a quiet realization, a spiritual snap, if you want to call it that, where the old version of yourself loses its power. You start hearing yourself differently. You start thinking before reacting. You start feeling that tug in your chest, that pull toward the man that you're supposed to be. And here's the crazy thing about it, right? Nothing around you changed. You did. You look at the old habits and they don't hit the same no more. You look at them old temptations and they don't control you the way that they used to. The old patterns, and something in you says, nah, not this time, not anymore. I'm done with all that. That's the shift. It ain't perfect. It's not becoming a man, or no, a brand new man overnight, but stepping toward him on purpose. Because once you face yourself, you can't unsee it. You can't unknow it. You can't go back to pretending. And this is where God starts rebuilding you piece by piece, layer by layer, stripping off everything that wasn't truly you. The shift happens the moment the truth becomes louder than the lie. That's when things change. That's when the weight gets lighter. That's when clarity hits your spirit, because the first time, or for the first time, you're not surviving anymore. You're becoming. After the confrontation, after the reveal, after the shift comes the part most men never talk about. And that's the rise. Not the rise that they post online, not the fake comeback story. You know, they tell people to look strong or anything like that. I'm talking about the quiet rise. The one that happens, you know, inside before anybody else sees anything. It's the rise where you stop living from that pain and start living for a purpose, where you stop reacting and start choosing, where you stop trying to prove yourself and start becoming yourself. This is where the real you steps forward. The version God saw before the trauma, before the mistakes, before the guilt, before life hardened your heart. You start walking different. You start speaking different. You start thinking different. And not because life got easier, but because, you know, you got wiser. This is the rise that doesn't need applause. It doesn't need any type of validation. It doesn't need no approval, because the man you're becoming isn't being built by people. He's being built by God. A man doesn't rise when life gets better. He rises when he gets honest. And that's the truth. Honesty with God, honesty with yourself, honesty about who you've been and who you refuse to be anymore. This is where your identity gets rebuilt. This is where your purpose wakes up. This is where God says, now you're ready to walk different, ready to choose differently, ready to finally become the man the pain was pushing you toward all along. This is the rise, and it starts the moment you decide you're done being the man pain created and ready to become the man God intended. If this message hit you today, it's because God is trying to get your attention, not to make you feel guilty, not to break your spirit, but to wake up the real you, the one he's been waiting for. So if you're ready for that journey, stay locked in, because we're going deeper in this season. And if you're new here, welcome to Spoken Truth Revival. This is where men stop running and face themselves and rise into what God created them to be. I'll see you in the next one. Grace and peace.